How's everybody doing? Positive and productive, I hope. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me. Do me a favor and share the content with friends, family, anybody that you think the content is relevant to. Remember, local elections are more important than national elections, but dollars are stronger than votes. They won't stop until we stop them. Liberation comes at a cost. Who's willing to pay for it? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd implore you to drop purple hearts in the comment section of YouTube. However, before we jump into this, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit of a different video. I'm going to tie a few different points in, just different things going through my algorithm. But I want to point out, this is a little bit of a longer video. We are going to watch it in its entirety because there was a part 1 and part 2 on Twitter, and then there was a part 3 of the conclusion. So all 3 parts are compiled together here on YouTube. I'm going to play a little bit of the end, and then I'm going to play the beginning, and then we're going to jump around to YouTube and a few other things. And I'm not gonna lie, the officer is giving this lady a lecture, so preface it that way. The officer, it's warranted. The lecture is warranted. I don't think a lot of people really understand the ramifications therein of, and because of this video, because of things I've seen previously in my algorithm, we're gonna talk about some of these ramifications. So without further ado, let's jump into the ending, the conclusion of this, and then we're gonna back up to the front part of it, kind of like a Tarantino film, and then I'm gonna show you guys in real time a little bit about how these ramifications manifest themselves in real life.
Would you rather talk in private? Alright, I know you had a broken arm. I want you to keep your hands in front. Okay, can we touch you under arrest for child abuse, domestic violence? So I don't want to hurt your arm, so we're going to leave it like this. I know that since I'm not a 14-year-old boy, you're not going to try to fight me, so I'm going to keep your mind like that.
Brittany Ann Myers was arrested in September 2021 and charged with 1 count of felony child abuse. She was sentenced to 14 months in prison, followed by 3 years on probation. She has lost all parental rights, including rights to a child she gave birth to after her arrest. The 16-year-old daughter who recorded everything, who had been given that phone specifically to document the abuse, made sure that what happened on Patch Oak Lane could never be denied. A neonatal intensive care nurse, paid to protect newborns who could not protect themselves, and at home, 5 children who needed someone to do the same for them. Their sister made sure someone finally did.
Today, the Department of Justice.
So now really quickly, excuse me. So we're gonna go back. So you heard that she was arrested for 1 count of child abuse. She served 14 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and she lost all parental rights, even the parental rights of a child that she gave birth to after her arrest. So another thing I want to say really quickly, if you notice when the officer arrested her, and this is just a side note, right? But we'll look at this in a video. Generally speaking, people can be charged with some of the most egregious and atrocious things in society. But if you are complying with the officers and opposing them no threat, they will generally, not all, but generally make accommodations to you. However, I've seen incidents where people were accused of some very crazy and heinous incidents, and they did comply, and they were not they did not receive good treatment. That's neither here nor there, but I know a lot of people are going to say, oh well, she had a broken arm, or they knew this, and look how they treated her because she was a white woman. Well, she still went to jail and she still went to prison. Maybe we can just attribute that to how she was acting in that moment, which doesn't excuse any of her behaviors, which is why she was still convicted. So let's back up a little bit and let's listen to this whole thing. Again, it's about 14 or 15 minutes long. I will pause it periodically, talk about a little bit, break some of these different things down, and then after this, we're going to jump over to X, and I'm going to show you real life ramifications of how some of these things manifest themselves.
You're nude and just beating the shit out of this kid is, quite frankly, alarming. And then what are you doing?
I'm staying with the baby.
Do you hear this?
Vaguely.
You vaguely?
It sounded
okay.
like a verbal up.
So right now, The officer gets there, and this is where we got the video at. The officer gets there. He's talking at this moment. He's basically talking to the boyfriend of the woman who's being accused of the child abuse, and he's basically saying, "So what were you doing? You were just standing there." And they had a video that was on Ring Cam that captured the actual incident. Everything wasn't on camera, but the whole incident itself had been recorded, and her striking the child had also been documented.
How big is your house? 17,000 square feet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
According to investigators, on the morning of September 21st, 2021, Brittany Myers demanded the password to her 14-year-old son's phone. He did not hand it over. What followed was captured on video in 4 separate segments. Myers hit him multiple times on the back of his head with the phone, pushed him to the floor, kicked him in the back, in the stomach, intentionally kicked him in his private parts, stomped him with her ankle, and choked him for a minimum of 4 minutes, while insulting him, mocking him, demeaning him. The sounds of smacking and thudding, and the boy's cries, captured on every second of that recording. What follows is a cop interrogating her and shows Brittany the reality of her situation.
2,300 square feet.
So if you guys listen to that right there, the mother wanted the password to her son's phone, 16 years old. He denied giving her the phone and or the password. She kicked him in his private. She choked him. She hit him. And she got him on the ground, and this altercation ensued for about 4 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is an attack. This isn't discipline. This is somebody isn't complying with what you want them to do, so therefore you don't resort to means of an authoritarian to discipline this person. You resort to means of an equal, or even showing that this person is above you. That's why you are attacking them, because now you feel threatened, so therefore you don't have any other option but to use physical violence. And I find it very alarming that women, in a lot of cases, ladies and gentlemen, against their own children, will use physical violence to get their means, to justify the means to their ends. Let's continue.
Okay, and you can't hear your son's screaming, asking for help, basically begging her to stop, and you're just fine with this.
He acts like that in a verbal altercation, any kind of altercation.
Did you hear her striking him? Okay, all right. I'm pretty sure everybody heard it. That's what.
So the level of gaslighting here is really crazy. So he said, "Did you hear him screaming for help?" He said he acts like this in a verbal altercation. So I really want to I have to put that in perspective. So you mean to tell me when the son and mom are yelling at each other, "No, you wash the dishes, you take out the trash, no, forget you, mom." So you mean to tell me when they're just going back and forth, he's screaming for help? Because I'm pretty sure the way he was screaming for help after being kicked in the nuts and being choked on the ground by his mother, knowing his father is in the other room, I'm pretty sure the way he's screaming for help is probably a lot different than how he would say, "Hey dad, mom is tripping, can you come in here please?" Because I'm pretty sure when his mother's tripping that he's playing Xbox and he didn't take out the trash, he probably says, "Dad, mom's tripping, dad, can you come in here?" I'm pretty sure he might do that. But I'm pretty sure it's very different when you're being choked out by your mother on the floor. I'm pretty sure you're calling for your father. I'm pretty sure the way you even sounds a lot different, right? Because when you're being choked, your voice and your larynx, I'm pretty sure that your voice sounds different. But you mean to tell me this young boy was being assaulted, victimized, and we can understand the pain in his voice, and the father said, well, he responds like that in verbal altercations.
We got 3 complaints about it to DCF about the ongoing and violent abuse for especially him, but also, okay, and I don't know what the history with, it's not why I'm here, that's why she's here. The reason I'm here is because you beat the shit out. It was unnecessary, it was malicious, and it was ongoing for an unreasonable period of time. We're talking 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I got tased for 5 seconds, and that was an unreasonable amount of time. Okay, you beat him for 4 minutes. That's just what's on video. The fact that you won't show us the ring video, you don't think that that's a little alarming?
It's because
Have you seen the video? It's on the ring cameras. Have you seen the video of her beating him on there? The audio's there, the video's there. You're okay with this? You heard him.
I don't have to make a statement right now.
You don't have to make a statement. You're not in custody, and you're free to move. But you're a man, are you? Are you not?
Yes.
Okay. Your son, don't you want him to grow up to be a good man and not beat the shit out of his wife and his kids?
Yes.
Okay. Or do you want him to grow up like her and just beat his children? Because this cycle is what starts people who just beat the shit out of other people when they can't process their emotions. And that's what you're doing. You can't process your emotions. You can't deal with it. So it manifests in anger. And he's 14 years old. You should not be raising children because you can't deal with it. Okay? I talk to child molesters and murderers. I don't beat the shit out of them. I talk to them like a human being. I just sat here for an hour talking to you like a human being, and I shouldn't have been. You should have known from the moment I walked in here what type of person I think you are. Okay? And quite frankly, universally amongst the DCF and the Sheriff's Office, we quite frankly think you're a monster. This is not the first time. This is the first time it's been recorded. Okay? And the first time that it's been played for me. All right? I'm the supervisor of the Persons Crimes Unit. I deal with domestic violence, child abuse, homicides, rape, sexual abuse, all these things. And this is a really, really, really bad act of child abuse, in my opinion.
Brittany Myers was not...
So, really quickly, he just prefaced his credentials, his profession, and what he deals with on a regular basis. And he just let her know, and us know for sake of argument, that this was a very severe case and one of the worst cases he's seen, and he deals with a lot of atrocious things. And I don't think a lot of people are putting it in perspective because of how calm she's acting, and also the amount of gaslighting that the man is doing about saying that, you know, almost justifying the boy's behavior or saying, well, I didn't hear it or anything of that nature. You know, it's really alarming, ladies and gentlemen, that we're in a day and age where people can placate as though they don't hear things, they don't see things. But on the flip side of this, where we see law enforcement doing certain things, doing their job, or we see even people being victimized in the street, and these are the same people that says why no one does anything. And when you guys find out what her profession is, it's really going to shock you, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the world we live in, and it brings up a very great passage. You know, I don't know exactly what it was, but when Jesus said, don't judge the log in your own eye, or don't judge the stone in your brother's eye when you have the log in your own eye, I think this is a classic example of this right here, ladies and gentlemen, because this lady was endowed with the position of caring for very young children, especially children, I believe in the neonatal ward, or in some aspect where these children either had heart conditions and or brain conditions. So she's a nurse who's supposed to care for children, but at the same token, she's at home beating children to the point where they have to document it and run down the street and call police.
Just a mother of 5. She was a neonatal intensive care nurse employed at an Advent Health newborn intensive care unit, paid to protect the most vulnerable children imaginable, the ones who could not yet breathe on their own. While at home, her own children were reporting beatings to authorities. All 4 of the children who were...
And just really quickly, and I know he's recapping some of the different things that I said. Now, also, remember what the cop said also, too. There's a few good things he said in that, which was, number 1, he said, I'm treating you like a human being. I should have let you know how I feel about you as soon as I got here, but I'm talking to you. I'm using my words. But what he also said was that this isn't the first time we've been here. We have 3 or 4 documented cases of child abuse. This is just the first time that it's been recorded.
Were old enough to be interviewed described abuse. The 9-year-old reported being kicked in his private parts, the 7-year-old reported beatings, the 16-year-old reported abuse, and the 14-year-old, who had endured 4 minutes of what was captured on that recording, had endured far more than just that morning.
Can't get that help.
Okay, so do you think now, after listening to me and watching that video, do you think now that you hitting him the way that you did for a minimum of 4 minutes was a reasonable use of force to discipline a child?
I'm not answering that because you're going to arrest me.
Okay, don't answer it. I don't care. I'm telling you.
Just really quickly, and this is the level of delusion, just how oblivious people are. So, and maybe she's not versed in law enforcement or anything like that, but the fact that they're there talking to you the way that they are, and here's the thing, I could also attribute this also as well, is that maybe law enforcement has came, lectured her, and walked away, and she didn't get arrested, and maybe based on what she did or didn't say allowed her to not be arrested. I believe that it was because it was unsubstantiated and or not corroborated based on the video evidence. So it was a he say, she say, DFS, I don't know what state they're in, CPS, different things of that had to get involved. So it wasn't a criminal charge. It was a child abuse, child neglect, various things which can be criminal, however, are usually handled in a domestic violence and a family court situation. So because it wasn't criminal, which is probably why she didn't get arrested, even though law enforcement was there. However, she thinks not answering this question is gonna not get her arrested, which I think is just really asinine in that situation. However, which brings another point, just really quickly, brings another point that women will do things that they know are wrong. When questioned about it, they will avoid the answer because they think avoiding the answer avoids the punishment or the consequence. So I don't want to answer that because you're going to arrest me. So you don't want to tell me what you did was wrong because you think I'll arrest you. So you're not going to say it's wrong. You're not going to say you won't do it no more. You're not even going to acknowledge it. You don't want to acknowledge it because you think I'll arrest you. So let me get this straight, woman. You're not going to tell me that spending my money or sleeping with my brother is wrong because you think I'm going to divorce you. So you admitting to what you did was wrong, that's grounds for me divorcing you, not what you actually fucking did. Do you see, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, we're going to continue. We're going to get, because my chauvinism is going to show, and I know we're not in public, ladies and gentlemen, but you can get in trouble for that sometimes.
That it's not. I'm telling you that I work for the state of Florida. I work for the county of Flagler and the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. I'm trained.
I didn't beat him for 4 minutes. That's the problem. It wasn't like 4 minutes.
So now the video is 4 minutes, and now she's justifying that she wasn't striking him for 4 minutes. And this is why this guy says I'm the supervisor, right? Because she's used, we call it a talk off. You guys call it gaslighting and various things of that, but she's used to playing these semantical word games that now takes accountability off of her. Do you think beating him for 4 minutes was justified? Oh, it wasn't 4 minutes of beating. I wasn't just sitting here hitting him for 4 minutes. Bitch, you was abusing this nigga. Do you know what mental abuse is? Do you know what verbal abuse is? Do you understand what you were doing was wrong, but you don't want to admit that because you're afraid of arrest? So you'll do it as long as you won't be arrested. See, this is why we have law and order, ladies and gentlemen, or crime and punishment, because crime and punishment is supposed to keep law and order. You have a lot of people that'll commit crimes, and the only reason why they don't commit crimes is because they fear being arrested. So think about that. A lot of people would do a lot of egregious things. The only thing that is stopping them is the consequence. Imagine that. I mean, that opens up a big, oh my God.
Continuing. It was fighting back and forth.
Are you familiar with mental abuse? Emotional abuse? How do you think these kids are going to grow up? What do you think they're going to do to their kids?
He's made reference to this several times. How do you think these kids are going to grow up? We're not looking at that ramification, ladies and gentlemen. We're saying children are strong, children are resilient. It happened to me. And that's why you're beating your kids, because he didn't want to give you his cell phone. So let me get this straight. You're an adult, and more than likely you bought the phone and you probably paid the bill. But now when the child tells you they won't give you back your property that you paid for, that you're actually responsible for, your only justification or your course of action is to resort to violence. And now we're asking you, so how do you think they're going to respond when they grow up? A lot of us don't have the answers to this, even though we see it in 4K every day.
When you get a call from your granddaughter or your grandson, and they're hysterically crying and saying, Daddy beat the shit out of me with a sandal, you're going to be so upset, and then you're going to remember this day, and you're going to remember that you did that. It's all your fault. This guy is soft as fucking vanilla pudding. Look at him. He's not doing anything to stop his wife from beating up his son. That's a huge problem. You should be arrested. You know that?
And I'm glad the cop is using the terms that he's using against this man, because for a man to sit there and even for against his own son, I mean, I you know, there's no justification for a child in general, you know, for a man to allow a woman to do this to a child in his presence, in the vicinity of him, I mean, it's uncalled for. It brings a lot of different things into question, ladies and gentlemen. It just really does. But also, I just want to back up really quickly. Let's back up really quickly.
And you're going to remember that you did that.
So
it's all your fault. This guy is soft as
excuse me, what the cop had alluded to is that when your children grow up and have children themselves, and your grandchildren call you and say, "Daddy's beating me," you're going to be very upset. Well, I actually disagree with that. I actually disagree. I think somewhere deep down inside, the masochism in her heart and in her soul is going to be grateful and happy, because misery loves company. And now she's going to remember that when she got beat, because that's probably what happened. And now she's gonna be thankful and glad that more people are getting beat and I'm not the only one. That's why she's beating her child, because she wants her child to beat their children. She wants to continue the cycle, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe she's not even thinking that far, because I know a lot of people are oblivious to a lot of different things. Maybe she's not thinking that far. But you know what? People love the trauma bond. So when the child calls her to say, "My dad beat me, my mother beat me," maybe that'll be a way for her to bring her mother goose spirit in. That's the only nurturing spirit that she has. Is to create the fire and then bring the cup of water. I can't actually put out the fire, but I allowed the child to play with the matches, and now when the house is burning down, I'm gonna bring you a cup of water. So then when we're over there crying over the ashes, you know what I could say? "Remember when I brought you that cup of water when the fire happened." Let's continue.
in vanilla pudding. Look at him. He's not doing anything to stop his wife from beating up his son. That's a huge problem. You should be arrested. You know that? Culpable negligence. You're not doing anything. What are you doing? You're just letting your wife just run the house and beat the shit out of everybody? Your daughter cuts herself. You think she just cuts herself because she had a bad childhood? Who created her childhood? That's you. The self-harm is because of you. And listen, you had a probably worse childhood than anybody. Stop the cycle. Stop it. It's on you to continue this or not. You're just continuing the pattern. Your kids are going to grow up worse than you did. And they're going to be doing things that are worse than you're doing. They're going to be self-medicating with drugs and alcohol, way worse than weed, because now weed's not cool like it used to. Okay? When you and I were kids, we're the same age. I was smoking weed in high school too, because that's the cool thing to do. Smoking cigarettes was dangerous back then. Cigarettes don't even freaking exist anymore. The kids are going to be using pills, heroin. This is the same that we see all the time. The victims of child abuse grow up to be criminals and grow up to suffer massive consequences because of the abuse they suffered at home. You want to talk about PTSD? Listen to this kid. He went through a fucking battle. And he didn't even hit you. He didn't do anything. He was defending.
I want to stop it. He's making some very great points, and hopefully, we understand that how these things manifest themselves, right? Because the children we raise are going to be the adults in society, and either the things we put into them or the things we didn't put into them will be how they respond to different things in society, because the world is going to exist. So either you prepared them for it or you didn't. Another thing that he's bringing up is the amount of PTSD that children have from being beaten, victimized, even lied to. Imagine constantly being lied to from your parents for various things, even if there's no abuse or trauma there. Just the fact that you can't trust anybody so when we say, why do these people don't trust anybody, or you have trust issues? Well, imagine if nobody ever kept their word to you. How can you trust strangers when your mother never kept her word to you? Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the different things that we have to deal with. There's so much more that I want to say. I want to just continue this video really quickly. He alludes to an interesting part. I want to get there, and then I told you all the different things that he's saying about the ramifications, the PTSD, the people who grow up to be criminals, various things of these natures. Why are we not doing things about them? Like, we understand that, you know, kids can get discipline, and there are various forms of discipline. And I'm not advert to corporal punishment. I'm not going to say that, but there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And if you're not implementing these things with clear, concise rules and regulations, well, then it's going to muddy the water, and it's going to create people who don't understand cause and effect, rules, ramification, and you're going to create people who just have a total disrespect or disregard for authority. Because think about it, the person or the persons in authority over me who are supposed to love, nurture me, and protect me abuse that. So now why would I trust the authority of a stranger? Let's continue.
Himself the whole time, and you're just pummeling him. I don't care if it's with a sandal or not. I don't care if he's got a black eye or not. He doesn't, not all wounds are
And just really quickly, from the ring cam, and we don't have the ring cam, but just from what the officer said, he alluded to her being nude several times while beating him with the sandal. So imagine a 16-year-old boy being beaten by a naked woman. Now we talk about these men, these incels, and these guys with all these sexual perversions and proclivities and different things like that. Imagine seeing your mother naked at 16 years old when your hormones are going crazy and your mother is beating you naked. I remember there was a band, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day, and he said, "There's no sex in your violence." Imagine being beat by your naked mother at 16.
Oh. I've met the kid this morning. He's a cute little boy. He asked if he could sit in a rolling chair because he thought it was fun to twirl around. He's a fucking child. What is the point of that? Look at him. You don't have any emotional response to this guy?
To my kid?
Yeah. Look at his face.
And just really quickly, and I know a lot of you guys are like, listen, because we've seen the ending already, so we know she's arrested subsequently. But here's the thing, and I know a lot of people are like, he could avoid all of this talk and just arrest her and take her to jail and various things of that nature. One, he wants her to think about some of this stuff. He really wants to, use his words to hopefully be able to get through to her soul, her conscience, if she still has one somewhere deep down inside. Also, I believe a portion of the reason why he's talking to her right now, this is his way of getting out a lot of his frustration and how he's feeling about it. Because I believe if he was just to take her into custody right now, he might possibly do something to her. So I think him talking to her, letting her know what he thinks and feels is the way he's possibly not gonna victimize and abuse her and remain professional in this exchange. And kudos to this guy, because a lot of us, me personally, I'm not gonna lie, it would be very hard to remain polite, courteous, and cordial and professional after seeing only what I could imagine was on this videotape. I mean, just from the way he's describing it, just from the way the kids described it, and from some other information I did on this, it would be very hard. It would just be very difficult for me to remain professional, courteous, and or polite. But we're going to continue because he's going to allude to something very crazy that I think is just wow. I mean, I know this is already crazy, being kicked in the nuts by your mother, being choked out by your mother while she's naked, and your father in the next room and not coming to defend you or even stop your mother. I mean, how much crazier could it get, right? Like, how much crazier could it get? There's a caveat in here. There's an interesting caveat, and hopefully, none of us have to go through this, but hopefully this isn't a real life, real experience for us as parents with children. I'm gonna play a little bit more. Hopefully we can get to the part that I want to introduce you guys to. Then remember, because we're talking about these kids who've been abused and victimized, and now the different things that they have to live with in real life. And I'm going to show you what I believe is someone who's victimized or who was victimized in real life, and then we can see these manifestations. But let's continue.
Look at his face.
Yeah.
He deserves to be beat.
No. I don't know how to...
Do you recognize that you need help?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, no.
No.
And listen, he's gonna, so hold on. I'm gonna back it up. Let's play it and then I'm gonna stop it.
Do you recognize that you need help?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, no.
No.
No, there's no we in here, sweetheart.
I recognize that I need help.
It is you. You have anger problems. You have...
So, and I'm glad he corrected her. Do you realize you need help? Yeah, we do. No. And she even said, no. Yeah, I need help. So why did you say we when I'm talking to you about your behaviors? So, and I'm not saying your children are perfect, and I'm not saying you don't have juvenile delinquents. I'm not saying any of that. And I'm not saying that the we don't need help is an incorrect statement. I'm not saying that. But what I'm talking about right now are your actions, and can you realize based on your actions, regardless of what your children may or may not have done, can you realize that you need help? Do you see how women will duck and dodge accountability, ladies and gentlemen? This woman beat her 16-year-old, choked him out, kicked him in the nuts. In what world is disciplining your son justified by a kick in the nuts? Because listen, ladies and gentlemen, and now I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to agree with me on this, but you guys don't never like to agree with things that we know are true, right? I hate that about you guys sometimes. But here's the thing, because we teach young boys and young men never hit girls. You a boy, don't hit girls, even though men and women are equal or something weird like that. But guess what? Men are never supposed to hit girls. But you know where the caveat comes in? As a father, as a mother, anybody ever says, if she kick you in your nuts, you better slap the shit out of her. And we tell young girls, listen, a boy ain't gonna never really do too much to you. But if you kick that nigga in his nuts, he probably gonna hurt you. We realize that, right? Everybody knows that. If you kick a nigga in his nuts, it's about to get real. Everybody knows that. So why did this mother think it was okay to kick her son in the nuts? I'll tell you why. Because she wanted to provoke him. She wanted him to try to assault her. She wanted him to fight back against her, so that would give her more rage and more reason to victimize him, ladies and gentlemen. See, I could tell you that, listen, I hate when the handwriting is on the wall and y'all dumbass niggas don't read cursive, so you just don't know what it says. Let's continue.
You immediately jump to violence when you can't handle something. Okay? It is hard raising kids. I have two. I get it. Okay? I don't have 4 or 5. I understand that. But when they're little, they're a handful. Okay? When they get older, they're a lot worse. Okay? And most of the problems that we deal with in Flagler County.
And just real quick, no offense, but the social worker, she's sitting there, she's looking like, nigga, let's go to jail, goddammit. I ain't trying to stand out here. It's hot. Shit. Fucking, they in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Humidity fucking up my ponytail. You know what I'm saying? You know, you ever see the white girls with the slick back hair and then after a few minutes their hair raise up like they've been touching the electricity or something? Neither here nor there, but look how she's looking at him. But realistically, because you could tell she does this all the time too, and she's like, look, you could tell in some people's eyes and by the way that they respond to some things that, you know what, they're not receptive. They're just not receptive to what I'm saying. The old folks used to say, you're not picking up what I'm putting down.
Okay, I don't have 4 or 5, I understand that. But when they're little, they're a handful. Okay, when they get older, they're a lot worse. Okay, and most of the problems that we deal with in Flagler County are for 15, 16-year-olds. I get it. I 100% get it. But violence is not the answer. You know that because you've been raised in a culture of violence. You have PTSD from tragic things that happened to you when you were a kid. And now you're just running it back and putting your kids through it? The fuck sense does that make? What's the point of this? Take his phone, throw it in the garbage, and tell him that, okay, no internet for 2 months. Whatever. And then what is he going to do?
Turn around and get another one and get on the internet?
Then do it again and punish him again in some other...
You see, and that's the problem right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the interesting caveat I wanted to bring to you guys, but that is the fundamental problem right there. We're in a day and age where parents have already admitted to themselves that they don't have control over their kids. So he does something you don't want. Take his phone, throw it away. What's he gonna do? Well, he's just gonna get another one and get on the internet. So what you're telling me is that the kid is smarter than you. And the only way you know how to stop the kid is by abusing them, by fighting the child. That's the only way you can stop the child.
Fashion, beating him is not going to do anything. Beating him causes him to run out of the house, ride his bike down the street, and call the police. Beating him makes him go to school and then call SRDs, the school resource deputies, and tell them that his mom's beating the shit out of him. And then now look at you now. You got the police at your house 2 days in a row. DCF is in the middle of your life. You didn't even have access to your kids last night. You shouldn't have had access to your kids last night, but you broke that. You shouldn't have been here.
You see her, she over there fidgeting, and she like, let's go. I am tired of standing here listening to you talk to this lady who don't give a shit. And she's not saying it like I'm just, done with the situation, but based on, because like I said, you could tell she's been doing this a long time too. You could tell that she's like, listen, she is not receptive to none of the things that we're saying. She will do this again and again. Some people, listen, what the old folks used to say, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Some people will not receive the help, ladies and gentlemen. They just will not. And it's sad to say that, and I don't know what happened in their life, in their mind, to where we call it can't get right. Like, they just will not. And sometimes you can see it, and it's sad to say, and I don't want to cast judgment on people, but it comes to a point in time where you start taking accountability. And we know, based on the things you say and the things you do, that, you know what, there's some hope for you. There's maybe a little bit of promise. But if every time you realize you have a problem and you want to include others and you want to justify kicking your son in the nuts and choking him out for 4 minutes and then saying, well, the beating wasn't for 4 minutes, I wasn't hitting him for 4 minutes.
You know that.
They said we could be here as long as somebody was awake.
Were they awake the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not what was explained to us.
Oh yeah, everybody was awake.
All right, this is you're manifesting excuses to try to justify abhorrent behavior. Okay, the behavior is unconscionable, and I guarantee you, if the supervisor of Advent Health was to see this video, you would just be out of a job tomorrow. Okay, you'd be working at McDonald's, because that's the type of person that you are. Because you can't process. What if there's a baby crying in the NICU? Just slap them around a little bit. Shut the fuck up. Is that what happens? Okay, why not?
They're babies.
Oh, okay. So, having to smack all these kids instead of coming up with creative forms of discipline, which are widely available on the internet, or widely available through resources that you've had access to with DCF, CPC, all these things, recognizing that because of the abuse you suffered as a kid, you probably don't want your kids to suffer through abuse. You never took any of these opportunities. You never thought that it was a better idea to break the cycle and stop it. Right? That's like being a heroin addict and then just giving your kids heroin because you're like, yeah.
We have tried different alternatives. That's the problem.
Spanking this age is going to lead to him being defiant and lead to...
Just really quickly, I hate when we talk to these people, and what I mean by these people who are just infinite people. Some people have a million excuses for one problem. You know what I mean? Like, they say, like, I've heard that sometimes there's a million solutions for one problem, but you got a lot of people who got a million excuses for one problem. And if you notice what she just said right here was, well, we tried alternative methods, but so what she's doing is justifying it. So we tried some things that didn't work, so now I'm going to go back to what I know that doesn't work. And maybe it does. You know what? Maybe he did give you the phone. Maybe you were able to get the password. But I do remember the United States government said that we cannot torture people because cruel and unusual punishment is unconstitutional, right? So therefore, if your child isn't complying with what you want to do, you can't resort to cruel and unusual punishment, even if it may be effective. And I understand that we have something called enhanced interrogation tactics, right? And that's why he said, get creative with your discipline. Get creative. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? How about I password protect the Wi-Fi and only me and dad have it? Now what are you gonna do? How about, because it looks like they live in a relatively affluent home, and she's a neonatal nurse, so I'm pretty sure she's making significant money. So how about we get some smart locks on the house, and now everybody is locked inside the house until you do your chores or complete what you need to complete. How about we get very creative, ladies and gentlemen? No, we tried some stuff, and we tried. So I'm just gonna beat the shit out of my kids.
More behavior that is going to lead you to get more angry and fall back on the behaviors that you have here.
Just really quickly, real caveat. When my children were younger, I would do something where I would actually lock them out of the house. It's these new wave kids, it's so funny because when we were younger, we wanted to be in the house all the time, and so they made sure we stayed outside a lot. These new wave kids, they don't want to be outside, you know what I mean? So it's really opposite, you know what I mean? But the funny thing is that I would lock them out of the house and I would make them go play. I would turn off the Wi-Fi, I would turn off the internet, and you guys are going to go analog for a couple hours. I'm gonna make you do it. Here's a coloring book. Here's some G.I. Joes. We got some jacks and the other ones, marbles. We about to go analog, old school on here. Matter of fact, we about to bring out the Pogs and the Pokemon cards, and we about to go super analog in this bitch, because everything don't require batteries. So, and a lot of people never did that with their kids. We got very creative, ladies and gentlemen. And I know what you guys are thinking, oh, Choosta, you lock them out the house, they could have just wandered off. Well, first and foremost, I was in a gated community, and actually in a gated quadplex. So there's only 4 units, myself and 3 other neighbors, whom we were all very cool with. Everybody had children, and we could just lock our kids in our very small little area, in our little playground area, et cetera, et cetera. And, again, that doesn't work for everybody. But again, like the officer said, get creative. See, some of y'all don't have any creativity, maybe because it was beat out of you.
That's what it's going to happen, and it's going to continue for all 5 of the kids. When they hit puberty, you're right. When they hit puberty, they get defiant and they become assholes. That's just human nature. They probably won't level out till 24, 25. It's ridiculous. But shouldn't you feel an abundance of love, unconditional love, where you don't want to see your children cry?
I don't want to fight with them.
No. I fight with my kids. Everybody fights with everybody. The point is, don't you want to express unconditional love and make your children feel loved? Don't you feel anything when he's hysterically crying, asking, begging you to stop?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it. You just hit him harder. That's all you did. Hit him harder. And guess what? We're going to get a search warrant for Ring. We're going to pull that video and we're going to use that against you. Okay? So you can show me, not show me, your attorneys. You have every right to have your attorney tell us not to look at it, and that's fine, because it's evidence of a crime, and you know it. You know it. You thought that we were just going to skate out of here because we didn't have video of it, but luckily, thank God, had the presence of mind to videotape what you were doing. Okay? And you, man, you cannot allow this sort of behavior. You probably committed a crime by not getting involved, literally. My kids were in an interview room and they asked, how's your dad treat you? They would go on for an hour about how fun I am and how funny I am and where I take them and the things I do with them and how much I love them. Never once did your kids say that you love them. Never. Not once. We're there for 2 hours. All 4 kids. Nobody ever said a word about love. Your home is loveless.
And I want to stop it right there, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that's the nail in the coffin. And maybe some of you guys are oblivious to this. Maybe some of you guys think differently. And, hopefully this isn't the real life, real world case for you. But imagine if your children were being interviewed and just asked random questions about mommy or daddy, and they never bring up or mention that mom or dad loves them. Imagine that. And I know a lot of you will say, well, no, that's not true. That's not, I know, no. Do you know your children know that you love them based on the way that you treat them? Not that you say it and not that they say it back to you, but do they know it for certain? And if they were asked several questions by strangers and psychologists, would they convey that they grow up in a loving, nurturing environment based on the things you say and the things you do to your children? Would they say that? Because like the man said, my children were interviewed and they talked about how fun dad is. And usually with most dads, that's usually what most kids will say. My dad's very fun. He takes me here. I do this with dad. And a lot of kids will also say that my dad doesn't like me to be silly, or my dad doesn't like me to not pay attention or follow directions. And my dad is a disciplinarian, and a lot of kids will admit that. I believe my daughter was 6 or 7 at the time, and I asked her, does she believe that dad loves her, or does she believe that dad, why does she think that dad spanks her sometimes? And at 6 and 7 years old, she understood. I wish I had it on video. She articulated that when I'm upset with her behaviors, which is not listening or following instructions, after repeated times, dad will sometimes spank her. And I'm glad that she understood why it happens. Because cause and effect, ladies and gentlemen, is a crazy thing. But she was able to articulate that because of your behaviors and me telling you multiple times to change your behaviors and you not doing it, this is why sometimes spankings occur. See, ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand what we're doing and what we're teaching our kids. So now in that interview room for 2 hours and asked questions about their mother, the children never admitted or alluded to their mother loving them, ladies and gentlemen. That's a sad reality, that some children grow up and don't believe or know that they are loved by their parents. They don't know it to be true. That's a sad reality. And now I told you, ladies and gentlemen, when these children grow up and we're trying to understand why people do the things they do, why people respond the way that they respond, when we're trying to make sense of it, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going about our day-to-day lives. And it's really hard to understand because, see, look, they have an analogy that, you know, we're all the main star in our life, in our movie, right? In the movie of my life, I'm the main star, and then there are other co-stars in it. And then there are people who are just, you know, man in a coffee shop. You understand what I'm saying? You know, maybe he has a few lines, but there's no backstory to man in coffee shop. But why is man in coffee shop acting irate? Why is he doing this? But because he's not a main character in my story, I don't know that when he was 16 years old and he refused to give up his cell phone, his naked mother kicked him in the nuts and choked him to where he was calling for his father to save him because he thought his life was in jeopardy for 4 minutes. See, I don't know that because he's not the main character in my story, ladies and gentlemen. So now let me show you the real ramifications. Let's go to X really quickly. And what I did is I believe, let's go to my bookmarks. Bookmark some stuff. There we go. We're at the bookmark. So I had a lot of different things that were bookmarked, various things I was looking at. I am going to show you. Bam. Here we go. Let's look at this.
What can I do, sir? I don't want no men touching me right here, though. That's what I'm telling you. That's the whole issue. But since I don't want no men touching me, they got a problem with that. So can you search me or can a woman search me? It doesn't even matter.
So here's the thing. They're going to search you. Or you don't have to fly.
Hey, I'm not letting nobody touch my ass. So why does somebody need to touch my ass, though?
You don't have to fly.
For what reason? But I'm asking the lady to do it.
Sir.
Does that make any sense? I'm asking the lady. Okay. Somebody's making it a deal.
I'm going to tell you one more time. You can either get searched.
Hey, can you do it?
Hey, first of all, calm down. Let us work this out, okay?
Now I got you. It's an issue. So you went from a woman to now I get this man.
Let us work
now it's an issue.
Let us work it out. Give me a minute, okay? Just kind of try to stay
Look where they pointed.
Help them. You can't do it.
But just look at where they pointed. They pointed my dick.
I'm telling you to hold on. Why can't you do it?
He can't shoot who he wants. This doesn't work that
But
way.
come on, man. If he's So I want this guy to do it. Right. Stop. Let's figure this out. So,
I said just pat.
what's your name?
David Dyer.
Okay, David.
From Atlanta, Georgia.
Listen to me. Try to just calm down and listen to me. This is how they do things. You can't decide who pats your down. Okay? So it's your choice. You can either allow them to do what they have to do so that you can get on the plane and go where you have to go, or you don't have to fly.
But let me ask
Those
you
are
this,
your
right?
two options.
Let me ask you this, right? So I'm allowing them to do the job that they want to do, right? But I'm not allowing them to elect the person that they want to elect because I want to elect the person.
Well,
I don't want no man touching me.
So here's the thing.
So what's the issue with that?
You don't have the ability to allow anyone.
Hey, but look, he don't even, it's not even no issue. I don't want no man, bro.
David,
Why do you gotta rub my ass?
Can you listen?
Hey, come on, just do it, bro. Just do it. I'm not, that's stupid.
So just really quickly. So I guess hopefully you guys can understand what's going on. He's going through a TSA checkpoint. They have to search him. For whatever reason, he got very uncomfortable that he didn't want a man to touch his ass. Now, can we automatically just see what's going on right here, ladies and gentlemen? Apparently, and I'm not trying to project anything on him, but apparently he has some type of built up turmoil, tension about men touching his derriere and his rear area. There's some type of trauma, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, he doesn't want to be patted down by a man in his gluteus maximus area. Very simple. He says, I'm not refusing. Can we just get a woman to do it? And they're letting him know, well, you don't have the authority or the power to dictate who gets to do what. This is where I have a problem with that. Because in today's society, we let men put on dresses and act like they're women and then refuse to be searched by men and demand that a woman searches them, even though they're a man with a dress on. Like, we allow men with dresses to go to women's prisons, and we make all types of accommodations for them, even though we know they're criminals. So here is John Q. Public, not accused of any crime, simply saying, can you accommodate me? We make accommodations for people in wheelchairs. We make accommodations, ladies and gentlemen, for illegal immigrants. We make accommodations for criminals, but yet we can't accommodate John Q. Public. And I'll tell you another thing I really don't like. Let's back up a little bit. I want to back up just a little bit. Let's back up just slightly right here, right? So watch this.
But come on, man. If he's so, I want this guy to do it. Right. Stop. Let's figure this out.
I said just pat.
What's your name?
David Dyer.
Okay, David.
From Atlanta, Georgia.
Listen to me. Try to just calm down and listen to me.
So right there, I really don't like that. What's your name? David Dyer from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, listen to me. Try and calm down. Why are you telling me to calm down when I'm talking to you very calm, cool, and collected? Like, why are you telling me? I hate when they say, neutralize or de-escalate. It is de-escalated, but yeah, it's like when, listen, and I don't want to get, I told you guys, ladies and gentlemen, my chauvinism is going to show very quickly. Why is it that, women do this thing? Like, I'm not mad. No, you're mad. I'm not mad. No, you are mad. Listen, I'm not mad. No, you are mad. Bitch, you about to get me mad. I'm telling you I'm not mad. I'm telling you I'm not. But now you're telling me I am. So apparently I need to show you what mad is so then I could go back to this and be like, see, I told you I wasn't mad. Like, is that what needs to happen? Oh, well, I think okay, well, you don't know me. So I'm calm. You asked me my name. I gave you my first and last name. I told you where I'm from. All I want to do is have a woman search me, pat me down. That's all I want to do. If it was an illegal immigrant who came through this motherfucker and didn't understand, y'all get a motherfucker to come speak Chinese to this nigga right now. If a motherfucking nigga with a dress on didn't want to be patted down by a man because he thought he was a woman, and that's all that nigga should have said. You know what? I don't even want to go here, but I identify as a woman. Can you get a woman to pat me down? Like, we're gonna have to start playing the Uno reverse cards, ladies and gentlemen, because it's getting out of control. It really is getting out of control. But also, I don't like the fact that law enforcement, because we know a lot of times when people are selling you stuff, they just read from a script and you're like, look, stop reading from a script, like answer my question. Or like when we call customer service and it's like, listen, you're not answering my question, you're reading the pages and you're not hearing what I'm saying. So now law enforcement has to stop doing that. They have to stop going off of a script. Say these 5 things. Okay, ask them their name, tell them to calm down. Bitch, why are you gonna tell me to calm down and I'm calm? You're about to make me not be calm. And I'm not saying that that's the right way to react to a situation. You should respond instead of reacting. And if you don't understand the difference between spawn and act, never mind. Just do your own self some due diligence. But here's the thing that I'm trying to explain to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it when people are calm, why is it you're telling people to calm down? Why are we not accommodating John Q. Public and making it more of a thing than what it needs to be? And why is not law enforcement? Because if we look at the other video of the guy who could realize that the reason why the mother is beating her child is because she's a victim of domestic violence and child abuse herself, and he knows that these kids live with ramifications growing up in life, why when we see these people acting irrational in life, we don't understand that these are those children? Why can we not put 2 and 2 together, ladies and gentlemen? Like, everybody quick to say 1 + 1 = 2, but you stupid motherfuckers don't know how to put 2 and 2 together. Why is this? I'm tired of these ramifications, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tired of it. Now, don't get me wrong. And also, we know that a lot of people are responding horribly in the stores, and we understand that people are doing some very crazy things, but also they weren't taught better at home. Also, these people have PTSD. Also, these people were abused and victimized. We got to realize that too, ladies and gentlemen. We're thinking that these people are just crazy, and I don't want to use that as a trope or a misnomer, but a lot of these people are not mentally well. When you were lied to, beat, and victimized, they said in the last video, some of the kids were ages 9, 6, and 9 years old. So let me get this straight. I'm 9 years old and my mother grabs me by my hair and slams my head against the wall. I'm 16 years old and my naked mother, now I don't want to put, ramifications, but imagine how you would feel. And I just want to be a little hyperbolic just for a moment. We got to be a little hyperbolic, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine how you would feel at 16 years old as a 16-year-old boy, and you're trying to go watch some porn, and now your mother caught you, and now your naked mother is abusing you, beating you, kicking you in your nuts and choking you. I think you might be have a crazy aversion to sex. Or, ladies and gentlemen, it makes sense. I just had an epiphany. Oh shit, I just had an epiphany, ladies and gentlemen. You probably heard it. Listen to me. Listen, oh my God, it makes so much sense now. Think about it. We see the videos of these guys who let the girls slap them in the face and kick them in the nuts and do all this crazy shit to them. And then they, oh yeah, I love you, baby. And we see these crazy videos and we're like, where the fuck did this come from? Oh my God, it makes sense now. So imagine how this 16-year-old boy is gonna think that a woman should show him love when his naked mother kicks him in the nuts and chokes him out. Imagine what he thinks his wife should do to him. What is gonna take for him? What is now normal sex to him? Because listen, I'm gonna tell you like this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm 40-some years old. I've never seen my mother naked. I've never seen my mother naked. Matter of fact, do you know what? If I did some stupid shit and my grandmother or my mother had to whoop me and get out of bed and they were in bed in their night stuff, do you know, boy, you better let me put my clothes on and I'm about to beat your ass. It was more of a whooping if they had to get dressed to beat you. You got more of a whooping. And I'm being hyperbolic, ladies and gentlemen, because here's the thing. Our whoopings never lasted for minutes. It was never minutes plus. You might got 3 or 4 good hits and then that was it. And then they talked to you and told you why you shouldn't be doing that. And you already knew you were in the wrong. And more than likely they were hitting you for something that they repeatedly told you not to do and you just kept violating the rules. Because we didn't have cell phones back then. But remember, you were on the house phone and you had the cord wrapping around the whole house, and your mom told you it was time to get off the phone and you didn't get off the phone. And then your mom said, listen to me, you need to get off the phone, and you didn't get off the phone. So then they picked up the other end and then they embarrassed you in front of all your friends. So then you snuck back on the phone again because you thought they was asleep. See, we could admit that we understood why we got hit a couple times, because we didn't listen multiple times. But now, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm showing you these children, but also now, again, I told you my chauvinism is going to show. Is this a good case study for why women shouldn't be in high stress working positions? Because when they come home, they take it out on their children. Is this a good case study for that? Because now I've heard the trope, and I don't want to say it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard the trope that women who get overly stressed out at work, they come home and they abuse their family. We've all heard this, ladies and gentlemen, but nobody wants to admit to it. Because now, why didn't the father call the police on his wife? Why didn't the father stop his wife from choking his son out? Why couldn't he say, sweetheart, you're naked, you're choking him? Why couldn't he say that? So now, are we at a day and age, ladies and gentlemen, that women are above and beyond reproach? So that, because I remember that men are supposed to lead women. And this is why conservatism fights against secularism, because secularism tells me God, man, woman, children. That's what conservatism is advocating for, ladies and gentlemen. And secularism is telling me that as a man, I should follow this woman's lead. So now imagine, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do the reciprocal or the inverse intrinsic on this, ladies and gentlemen. So now imagine the little girl, the 16-year-old girl, ladies and gentlemen, who doesn't want to give her dad her cell phone, and her naked father stands above her, kicks her in the vagina, punches her in her breasts, and chokes her out, standing above her. Imagine a naked man doing this to a 16-year-old woman, ladies and gentlemen. But now, I told you, we're gonna see the ramifications in public. We're gonna see it in real time, ladies and gentlemen, because remember, I bookmarked a lot of this stuff. I bookmarked it. And now let me show you something. Let me show you something, ladies and gentlemen. Just really quickly. Now I'm gonna show you. So now we're gonna understand people who have been abused, continue to abuse each other. And now let me explain to you why women, and specifically black women, and I know the video was about a white woman abusing her children, but let me explain to you why women, and specifically black women, should not lead society, and they don't have a place at the forefront of society, ladies and gentlemen. So now let's watch this video, and I'm gonna break it down really quickly. Because remember, don't judge these, because I listen. We listen and we don't judge, right? That's what y'all told me. We listen and we don't judge. So now we're not gonna judge these people. We're gonna listen to them. That's what we're gonna do.
Good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Good. Who fighting who? Who fighting who? Who fighting who? That's it, that's all. Like, one-on-one, that's it, that's all. Alright, that's what's poppin'. That's what's poppin'. That's what I said. I'm arguing with I said no more. I'm not taking no more. Wait, what's up? That's it. Don't mind. Take one shot off there. Put the knife down. 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 Take this on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed was an adult male punching an adult female. And everybody's there watching, oohing, eyeing, cheering, recording. Well, Choosta, what does this have to do with anything? So why do you think the other men that were there are okay with the man punching a woman? Why do you think they're okay with that, ladies and gentlemen? Possibly because they were the children who watched their fathers abuse their mothers. Because these were the children who were abused by their mothers and fathers. So they think it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. We wonder why these people act this way in society, but nobody ever stops to wonder what type of a household did these people come up. Because I told you, y'all always want to tell me 1 + 1 = 2, but nobody ever wants to put 2 and 2 together. So now we understand that the reason why all these males thought it was okay for this male to hit this woman and nobody do anything, probably because they come from households where they watched males and women victimize and abuse each other. So they think this type of behavior is okay. So much to the point where they actually not just regurgitate it, they repeat it. They condone it. They respect it. They endorse it. Ladies and gentlemen, do we see the ramifications of what we have to live with? Because these are the adult people that we've created for society. The children, the sweet little boy who wanted to spin around on the chair, ladies and gentlemen, and he was just a sweet little boy, according to the officer. This is what happens now. He is that, because remember that man who was there listening to his own son plead and beg his mother to stop, and all she did was hit him harder? Remember the man was there? Now, do you guys see that men are there and they did nothing when this woman is abused by a man? Do you guys see what's happening in society, ladies and gentlemen? We are watching the collapse and the breakdown. We are watching it in real time, ladies and gentlemen. And we keep advocating for mental health, better policing. We keep advocating for this. But when do we advocate for better parenting? When do we make it be a thing, ladies and gentlemen, in society, that when we hear children being victimized, when we know people are not doing the right things? Because I was told if you see something, say something, right? That's what they said. But now, how many of these people just saw what I saw, which was an adult male assault a woman, so much to the point where he kicked her on the ground, and no men thought to do anything except record and ooh and ah. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. So the amount of violence that we subject our children to is the amount of violence that they themselves will subject society to. As always, please stay positive, please stay productive. Remember, local elections are more important than national elections, but dollars are stronger than votes. They won't stop until we stop. Liberation comes at a cost.